The 107-88 win over the Celtics. Steph Curry scored 29 points. He held it down and then some, and so did Draymond on defense. Take a listen.
I think everybody played with more force. It wasn't just me on Jaylen Brown. It was across the board. If I just pick up my force and no one else does, it doesn't work. So that's a total team effort. Guys being ready to help when help is needed, and guys taking on the challenge at the point of attack. So, yes, I wanted to come out and be more aggressive on that side, and I think I did a good job of that. But that's a full team effort. It doesn't just work because of one guy. Our offense is always a lot of Steph. It all starts with Steph. Whether, when KD was here, our offense still started with Steph. And, that's the way it's going to be.
The Warriors in the third quarter, dangerous. Had their best quarter in NBA Finals history last night, and it happened in the third again, outscoring Boston by 21 points and doubled up the season shooting percentage. Curry had 14. He scored as many points as the Celtics did. S.A., I'll start with you. Do you think too much is being put on Steph Curry's shoulders right now?
Offensively, I do think that is the case. It was nice to see Jordan Poole get his game going, no doubt about that. But Klay Thompson shooting 4 of 19 from the field, I don't like that at all. I think we got to pay attention to the fact that this is who they're going against. They're going against an elite defensive team that has some offensive firepower of its own. This game was a 2-point game going into the third quarter. We understand, and somehow inexplicably the Boston Celtics continue to struggle in the third quarter, which is the one blemish on the otherwise illustrious performance of Coach Ime Udoka this season. But nevertheless, when you take into consideration what Steph Curry is being asked to do, yeah, you got him last night. You couldn't close the deal in game one. This series is tied 1-1 going back to Boston. When I think about the Golden State Warriors winning this series in 7 games, which I picked them to do, I'm thinking about the fact that both Jordan Poole and Steph Curry, or Klay Thompson and Steph Curry, get it going. It can't be Steph Curry and such a huge discrepancy between Curry and the rest of the guys on the offensive end of the floor in order to win this series. I think you're going to need at least one other individual to step up in order to win 4 games in this particular series.
Stephen A., we've talked about this all the time with the great Warriors teams and how their role players star in their roles. And I thought in Game 1, Otto Porter Jr. was great. Iggy had a couple of nice moments. Kevon Looney has been great on the offensive boards. Jordan Poole, of course, with a nice Game 2 bounce-back game. But the idea that too much is being put on Steph Curry, I disagree with that, just because we are talking about one of the top 10 or 12 best players in the world ever. We're talking about a guy who's on his 2nd or 3rd max contract. This is who he is. The Warriors system is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is their system. And so much that happens on offense for them is based upon him in pick and rolls, his movement off the ball. They got a couple layups just on miscommunication last night because they were so concerned with Steph Curry. Going forward in this series, the adjustment the Celtics are going to have to choose about, have to make a decision on is how they're guarding Steph Curry in pick and rolls. They primarily played drop coverage. Through 3 quarters of Game 1, the Warriors scored about 1.9 points per possession on those possessions. Last night in the third quarter specifically, when he got it going, that was drop coverage in those pick and rolls. So if they decide to potentially blitz, if they decide to sort of have the big up in that coverage, then all of a sudden you get the backside 4-on-3 action that the Warriors are so good at. And that's where I think you can see more counting stats from some of their role players. But to your point about Klay Thompson, he absolutely has to be better throughout this series if they're going to win this series. Like, he's got to be that guy that scores efficiently, gives you 20 to 22 points a game, and he's really struggling. And give some of that credit to the Celtics defense. I think, primarily Jaylen Brown in Game 1, but throughout Game 2 as well, they are doing a great job of contesting his shots.
Let me say this. This is what I love about, first of all, I'm speaking to 2 highly intelligent and brilliant basketball minds who I've known for a few years. But this is what I love about the fact that y'all are being on First Take. You see, this is my show. You see what I'm saying? This ain't the basketball court. Both of y'all are wrong. Both of y'all. And why would I say that? Because J.J. Redick instigated the proceedings by trying to twist it, and then you fell for it, C.J. McCollum. So let me educate you both about what happened. The question wasn't, is there too much pressure on Steph Curry? The question was, is too much being put on Steph Curry? What do we mean by that? What is it going to take to win this series? We're not saying that what's being asked of Steph Curry is unfair, that it's too much. Oh, my God, this is Steph Curry. How could you put him under these bright lights and this pressure? That's not what somebody is saying.
Neither of us said pressure. We didn't talk about pressure, Stephen A. Don't twist my words. Don't twist my words. I answered the question.
C.J. McCollum said pressure on numerous occasions. Top Gun, fall back. I know you got the #1 movie. Just chill out right now, Top Gun. Sit back and listen to what I'm trying to say to you, okay? I'm saying to you is this, and guys, you know this, because you just articulated it with the astute breakdown that y'all gave. Everything that you're asking of Steph Curry, we understand that. The question is about, is too much being put on him, because we're asking the question in the context, what is it going to take to win this series? You can't just sit there and look at him and expect him to rescue you. Game in and game out, other guys got to step up and do all the things that you both articulated. Over the first 2 games, Steph Curry scores 21 in the first quarter. He finishes with 34 for the game, even though they neutralized him over the last 3 quarters with 13 points. They come back in game 2. He explodes. He finishes with 29. He drops 12 in the third quarter, but he had help. Jordan Poole came out there and did some things as well, and we know what Draymond brings to the equation, particularly with his intensity, especially on the defensive side of the ball. And we'll talk about him later. All I'm saying is it can't be all about Steph Curry.
What's it like going against Dre when he's at his best?
I think he's the engine of the Warriors team. Obviously, the offense revolves around Steph Curry, his movement, his gravity, if you will. He kind of attracts the defense. All eyes are constantly on him. But Dre started the game pressuring Horford. He kind of let the team know, like, look, we're not going down 0-2 at the crib. We got to make sure we're aggressive. We got to make sure we hit first. They came in our house. They punked us in the fourth quarter of game 1. And we can't let that happen again. Offensively, he rebounds, he initiates the offense. If he sees a non-shooter, he's telling the non-shooter, you got to cut through. He's a screener. He's a guy who almost refuses to shoot at times, and he's joked about it on multiple podcasts saying, why would I shoot when I have the best shooter of all time? Even if he's kind of open, it's going in. If he's partly contested, it's going in. I think he's the one that makes them go offensively and defensively. He was lazy in game 1. He admitted it. He wasn't closing out. He was giving Horford open shots. He was not there on rotations. He wasn't hitting the pocket on his rolls. He wasn't getting the ball to the weak side. He didn't make his free throws. He did a lot of things poorly, and he accepted accountability for it, and he rose to the occasion. But I would say that when he's playing his best basketball, he's taking open shots. He's being aggressive. He's shooting those floaters in the lane, but he's also screening as he did before, where he screened 3 guys in one possession, and Steph came off and hit a tray ball.
When we think about basketball players and like a toolkit, you know, the skill sets that you put in your toolkit, C.J. McCollum, right? He's got a hezzy dribble. He's got his crossover. He's got his mid-range jumper, his step back 3. Like, he gets ready for a game. He's putting all those things in his toolkit, going to work that way. When Draymond does it, it's a very different toolkit. It's a very different toolkit. And part of that skill set is that passion and that intensity. And for him to be great, and to Molly's question, for him to be great, he has to be this way. There's no other way. There's no other way, Stephen.
I want to ask you.
No other way.
Now, I'm not debating. I'm asking. You guys play. I'm asking y'all this. I'm just asking questions here. Do you not fear that a referee, particularly in the way today's game is officiated, would be of the mentality, we don't care about any of that. Our job is to call the game the way we're instructed to call the game, and we're not going to take those very things that you just highlighted, JJ, into account, and that one of them could ultimately boot Draymond Green from a game. Are you not fearful of that?
No, listen, it's a very valid question. It's a valid point you brought up, and you're right, because all it takes is one referee in the moment, right? A split-second decision to blow his whistle and give him a second technical. My point is, this is who Draymond is, and this is what he does. He goes into a game, and he's constantly towing that line. And for whatever reason, whether it's wrong or right, I'm not going to judge based on that. Or, I'm not going to make a judgment call on that. When he gets that first technical, he amplifies it. That intensity, that passion, that being demonstrative with the officials, it goes up another notch, and he's constantly testing. He's testing the officials. He's testing the other team. That's part of the personnel. That's part of playing against Draymond. It's the Draymond Green experience. It's just part.
Boy, is he lucky that Joey Crawford and Steve Javie are no longer officiating NBA games. I think he's very, very, very lucky in that regard. To that, CJ, you say what?
All officials are great, first and foremost. Rarely ever make mistakes. The efficiency rating on good calls minus bad calls is probably 98, 99%. They're only wrong probably 0.5 to 1% of the time. But I think you guys are right. He toes the line far too often. It's going to cost him at some point, and all it takes is Smart or Grant Williams to understand that Draymond has one technical. Then you get in his face. Maybe you push him first. Maybe you just throw him a little elbow, get him to react, and that gets him out of the game. Obviously, we want to see the best players play, and we don't want this to occur. But he has to be very careful, because if he doesn't have a veteran referee who's mild-mannered, well-tempered, understands him, they may do a quick technical as opposed to going to review. They saved him by reviewing that play, because in the moment, that could have been an easy technical foul. You've seen the feet on his head, could have got rid of it early, but they understood that he already had one. They understood the personnel. JJ, we talk about KYP all the time, know your personnel, not just in sports, but they have to know their players and their players' personalities. And in this case, Draymond's reputation saved him, and will continue to save him until it doesn't.
To go back to JJ Redick, and I'm going to ask you, sir, to be careful, because when you misrepresent what I say, you ain't as good at doing that as I am. You don't want to start that trend, okay? Because I'll get you. Now, let me tell you something right now.
What did I misrepresent, Stephen?
I did not say they came out complacent. What I said was the level of complacency that appeared in Game 2 was absent in Game 1. They were up 15. Golden State was up 15 midway through the third quarter in Game 1. And the urgency that the Boston Celtics played with, storming back and making it a 30-point difference, going down from down 15 to up 15 in the fourth quarter. I said that there was complacency once Golden State got up in Game 2 that I didn't see in Game 1. Because I didn't say they came out complacent. I didn't do that. I'm just saying, once they were down in midway through the third quarter, it was like, hey, we got Game 1.
The first time you said, I'm going to review the tape, because I review all our tapes.
That's all I said that.
No, I review all our tapes. I review all our interactions.
You do.
I know
so
you twist my words. And I'm going to go back to the beginning of what you said. And what I heard was
I would never do that.
They were complacent in Game 2. You did not clarify or qualify that once they made that run. The point I want to make, I just want to make one point from my perspective, because I've lived on the other side of one of those Golden State runs, as has CJ. And there is something that is so deflating about being in a tightly contested game and then having Steph Curry hit 3 straight threes, having Jordan Poole hit a couple threes, and then a half-court heave. The momentum, I don't necessarily always agree with the momentum takes that people give, but there is something about that Golden State Warriors team, historically, at home especially, when they start knocking down those shots, it kills all of your own momentum. It kills all of your own intensity. Like, it is completely deflating.
Question. And I throw this out to both of y'all, because again, y'all play. Y'all are elite. I got it. The thing that I pay attention to, like, for example, when Boston came back from 15 down and they went up 15, you know what I found myself saying about Golden State? Well, I understand you couldn't stop them, but damn, what the hell they doing stopping you? In other words, if you got a cushion and you can go in, I understand the momentum shift that you're talking about. I mean, CJ's done it himself. You've done it yourself. Obviously, CJ played with Dame Dollar. We know what he could bring